Hey guys and welcome, this is CardinalBird5 and today I wanted to do a video breaking down some of the pitching attributes, and on this video we're going to talk specifically about hits per nine, the hits per nine attribute, and we're going to compare two different pitchers, and we're going to show you guys what hits per nine actually does in the game. But before we get into that, I wanted to kind of talk about how the developers make up this hits per nine attribute. Like, what are they looking for a player? That way you guys can, kind of know what to expect maybe for roster updates down the road. So I have Fangraphs pulled up, and I also have Clayton Kershaw's ratings pulled up as well. So Kershaw, if you look, we're on a 3-year average, so keep in mind, San Diego Studios likes to look at the last 3 years. So we're not really even including this year or just last year. We're doing a 3-year average, 33% for each year. So we look at Clayton Kershaw, and I sorted this by wins. But if you look at hits per nine specifically, I know they don't have like a hits per nine stat in Fangraphs, but I kind of just manually did it. Anyways, Kershaw in 667 innings is allowing 466 hits. That's by far the best in the last 3 years among all starting pitchers. There might be somebody better, but I checked. I don't really think there is. And that's why he is one of the best pitchers, not only in real life, but in the game. So if we look at his per nines up there at the top, you see that his hits per nine is 92, and again, that's one of the best, if not the best, among all starting pitchers. I don't know if it actually is the best, but I know it's definitely up there, and I mean, it should be up there. That makes sense. So if we calculate it out, that is 6 hits per nine he is allowing. We're also going to be talking about Garrett Cole today, and in 463 and a third innings, he's allowed 419 hits, and now that is roughly about 8.15 hits per nine. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's still pretty solid. But if we go look at Garrett Cole's attributes, you'll see that it's mediocre. It's not quite as good. I would say he's more middle of the road when it comes to that particular attribute. So yeah, we got Garrett Cole pulled up here. His hits per nine is at 67. Again, middle of the road, not too bad. So we're just going to specifically focus on hits per nine. So basically, guys, I mean, that's what the developers are looking for. They're looking for hits per nine, simple as that. Next, we're going to get into what this actually does in a game, and I'm going to show you guys an example of it. So stay tuned, and I'll see you guys shortly. Alright guys, so the hitter we're going to use for an example is Mike Trout, and we are going to use Garrett Cole in these examples. And starting off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit Garrett Cole's hits per nine and Ks per nine, and I'm going to show you guys how it affects Mike Trout's PCI. Before we get into that, there's also some variables. Of course, we want to look at Mike Trout's attributes. So what we want to pay attention to is contact versus righties, power versus righties, and plate vision. Those all affect the size of the PCI. More specifically, plate vision and contact. Power versus righties, or power in general, is something they added last year that can affect the size of the PCI as well, although it is not as drastic as contact and plate vision. So that being said, there are some other factors as well. I guess the one key takeaway from this, by the way, is that Mike Trout does have some pretty low plate vision, but his contact's pretty good. But regardless, we just need to pick a player and stay with that, and then you guys will see the difference in the PCI change. And something else you want to keep in mind, and I'll show you guys real quick, that hitter difficulty affects the size of the PCI as well. So I'll just show you guys real quick. This is beginner. Alright, no, we don't want dynamic. We got beginner, we got rookie right there, we go to veteran, see it gets a little bit smaller and smaller, we go to all-star, and then we go to Hall of Fame, and then finally we go to legend. This is what Mike Trout's PCI looks like on legend. It's still a decent size, because Mike Trout does have high contact. Alright, and keep in mind, I already showed you guys Garrett Cole's attributes, but I'll show you guys again. Alright, so those are Garrett Cole's attributes, and the things that are affecting Mike Trout's PCI, I guess the better word for it is modifying it, is hits per nine and Ks per nine. Those two attributes alone for a pitcher affects your opponent's PCI size, and what affects their PCI size directly is their plate vision and contact and power. So we see Mike Trout's PCI there on Legend, and we're just going to set it to All-Star just to keep it on a base difficulty. I just wanted to show you guys the difference between all three of those. So this is what the PCI size is for Mike Trout, you know, on default versus Garrett Cole and his normal, you know, daily attributes. But so next what we're going to do is we're going to change Garrett Cole's attributes. We're going to do one of two things. Or we're going to do a few different things, I should say. We're going to max out his hits per 9. We're going to even set it to 0. And I'll show you guys the effect it has on the PCI. And we're going to keep it on All-Star before we do that. So let's make sure we change that. Alright, so it is on All-Star. And I will see you guys on the flip side after I edit Garrett Cole's attributes. Also guys, I just wanted to show you guys how this affects their overall. So right now we have Garrett Cole's hits per 9 at 0, and this bumps him all the way down to a 78. Now if we max out his hits per 9, you guys will see what his overall will bump up to. He goes up to a 95. So it definitely has a huge impact on the starting pitchers overall and the algorithm they use for that. I think Garrett Cole was what, an 88, 87, 89, somewhere in the high 80s with his base. So you can see the dramatic effect it does have on the overall. Hey guys, so here we have pictures of each per 9, and what I did was one instance I put Cole's hits per 9 at 0. One of them I maxed out, and the other one I maxed out both his hits per 9 and K per 9 just to show you guys. The one in the top left is Cole's real H per 9 and K per 9 when facing Trout, and again this is on All-Star difficulty, so you can see it's pretty decent size, normal size there. Move over to the top right, hits per 9 at 0. You see the PCI is the biggest when this is there. Keep in mind, hit the K per 9 is still an average, so if we even shrunk that, it would be even bigger. And then we go to hits per 9 maxed out in the bottom left, and as you can see the PCI shrinks and it's the smallest thus yet. And we'll move on to the bottom right. If you max out both hits per 9 and K per 9, Trout's PCI even gets smaller. But let me talk about hits per 9, what it actually is impacted by. I show you guys how the developers you know, made this attribute and what they're looking for as far as stats. You know, they're looking at basically hits per 9, pretty self-explanatory. But what it does actually in the game is, of course, it does have a big impact on simulations, but I know you guys don't really care about that so much as gameplay. In gameplay, what it does is it counteracts contact rating only. You can just look at it as hits per 9 counteracts and modifies your opponent's contact. That's simply what it does. So we already know contact affects the size of the PCI, and this is just proof that it does just that. It modifies Trout's PCI, even though Trout already starts out with high contact. So that being said, so somebody like Trout is not as heavily impacted against a pitcher with good hits per 9 because his contact is already high. But again, we're going to do a video later and show K per 9 and the effects it can have. But if we were to take a player like, you know, Chris Carter, for example, with low contact, his PCI would be impacted even more because his contact is not good to begin with. So his PCI would get even smaller and smaller. It's basically, you know, just a modifier. I don't know the exact, you know, algorithm or coefficients that they use to modify it. But I mean, if somebody has a maxed out hits per 9, it could, you know, I'm just putting a number out there. Just say it could impact the size or the opponent's contact rating by 10%. So I'm just throwing that number out there. But you guys, you can visually see how it affects the PCI. So I hope that cleared up a few things. I know some people didn't quite know what hits per 9 actually did, and do these per 9's attributes actually matter? Well, yeah, they do. So I hope this, guys, you know, gives you some visual proof and some better understanding of, you know, how hits per 9 specifically works. I plan to break down K per 9, home run per 9, and walks per 9. I'll eventually get to them all, but if you guys have any questions, feel free to comment, and I will try to answer them as best to my knowledge. This is car number 5 signing out. Peace.